Hello and welcome to another edition of my college football preview. This is Coach Joe in PDX, but I'm no longer a coach and I'm no longer in PDX. I moved to our home in Central Oregon where I've got a zebra shirt and a whistle. That's right, I'm going to be an official. Got a great game tonight. Number one Summit 5A, number two Tualatin in the 6A, and I'll be the umpire right by the linebackers, which is a similar spot I had when I was a coach, showing the defensive plays. Now I just move up about 5 yards and I got the whistle. So a lot of fun there. First question is why wearing the Gators? Do I expect anything out of this year? No, they're going to be horrible. Complete trash. But they play tonight, so they kick it off, ESPN 5 o'clock at Utah. Now, normally I would say Utah's going to be a big winner here. But Cam Rising, the quarterback, injured his ACL in a bowl game last year. He's coming back really fast. They think he might even play later this month. Without Cam, it'd be a little more of a toss-up. Except for the news that just broke. Florida tried to recruit Cam to transfer. Also the Tulane quarterback and a couple others, you can't blame them. Everybody bolted or got arrested in Florida, so they need a QB. But talk about some bulletin board material, right? You tried to take our quarterback. I don't see much happening out of that one in the good column for the Florida Gators. So they're trash, they're out, doesn't matter. Sorry, Rico. I got another one here too. And again, for those new to the show, these are just the clean shirts I found in the closet so I could talk about them. UConn, they play North Carolina State. Okay, North Carolina State's favored by about 14, and they'll be good this year. But don't count out UConn. Jim Moore's done a great job. I mentioned them last year. They did a great job with that program. They play in the Big East Basketball League, so consequently they're an independent in football. We don't talk about independence here because there's none that really matter much. That means Notre Dame. Sure, you can beat up on Navy 42-3, but Notre Dame will be overrated all season long, get a really good bowl game, and get trounced again. So we're sick of that show. Let's move on to the Big 12. UCF. Central Florida? What? Well, again, coaching. Gus Malzahn is there. And you SEC fans have got a lot of respect, I know, for Gus Malzahn. Thought he did a good job at Auburn and just got the kind of short end of the stick there in the coaching carousel. Watch out for UCF. Okay? TCU. I actually wore this in the golf course yesterday. Just did the laundry. It's clean. Sonny Dykes is a coach there. So again, the coaching thing. So a lot of my Bay Area viewers know Sonny Dykes from his days at Cal. Couldn't do anything there, but nobody can. It's Cal. Okay, so nothing's going to happen there. So Sonny Dykes, I think they're ranked 17. The big one is their first game of the year, Deion Sanders and Colorado Buffaloes. How cool is that, right? Neon's going to get his first loss, and he's going to get a lot of them this year. Don't expect anything out of Colorado. Oklahoma, getting some love. Not going to happen. They're going to be horrible. Who's getting all the love out of the Big 12? Who's going to win it, they say? Everybody's going Texas, Texas, Texas. Don't see that happening either. Okay, here's the problem with Texas. I'm not even sure who, they got a bunch of quarterbacks there, including Arch Manning now. So there's not, but every opponent you play in the Big 12 is just going to put a target on your back. You're leaving us, you're going to the SEC next year. Here's our going away present for you. LLL. They're going to lose 3 or 4 games, I'll bet you, in league because people are just going to target them. It's crazy to me that they're getting so much love when you have that. So who's going to do it in the Big 12? I'm going to go with Oklahoma State. Why? Because they got a great schedule. They don't play a lot of those tough teams. I don't think they play Texas or TCU. Okay, so they got a great schedule. They play some of their tougher games at home. Oklahoma State, again, Coach Mike Gundy, almost said Van Gundy, Gundy. So, good things there I think will be coming out, and it'll be Oklahoma State in the Big 12. By the way, on a golf outing about a week ago, 2 weeks ago in Utah, my friend JJ told me he goes back and watches the show at the end of the season and during the season. I applaud that, and I ask all of you to do it because I have tens and tens of viewers, and that just doubles my views. So huge, ego boost for me when you go back and look and see he was right. Love it. All right, let's move on to the ACC, North Carolina. I talked about him last year. I talked about a quarterback nobody knew. Now everybody knows him, Drake May. His brother won a championship at North Carolina in basketball. Drake is a sophomore quarterback, which is crazy. Seems like he's been there a few years, but with these COVID, who knows? But sophomore quarterback, watch out for them. They're in the top 25. I think they're about 21 or whatever. North Carolina will make some noise. Who's getting all the love, though, in the ACC? This one isn't folded very well. That's a Florida State. There it is, Florida State shirt. And why? Because, we've seen Mike Norvell do nothing. Right? I can't even find the FSU in this thing. We've seen Mike Norvell really do nothing. FSU, 17 returning starters. That's what it's about for Florida State. So yeah, they got guys that have been around. Have they done anything? No. Are they going to do anything? No. In fact, they might even be 2-2 in September. How crazy is that, right? They open with LSU, loss, and then they play at Clemson about the third week of the season. Good luck with that, okay? I think, and so that means the league could be decided by October 1 almost for a front runner, and I'm not going to count out Clemson, okay? Clemson is just top of the mountain. You don't stumble to the top of the mountain, right? So Clemson, I think, is the team to beat there. Will they make the college football playoff? I don't think so. We'll get to that in a second. The Pac-12, which will soon be the Pac-4, Oregon State, again, great coach, Jonathan Smith. They've got a quarterback. They've named the starter. He's a transfer from Clemson. How weird is that? DJ, and I'm not going to mispronounce his last name, but DJ's gotten the nod to be the starting quarterback for Oregon State. Ironically, his brother is a true freshman edge rusher at Oregon. And he'll be in the top 2 for sure, but he could be a starter. How crazy is that? Another in the family. So the parents going to spend a lot of time in Oregon, let me tell you. So who's going to win the Pac-12? A lot of people talking about USC, with good reason, Caleb Williams. But again, we've seen USC, right? We've seen this show. It's not pretty, right? They lost in the Pac-12 championship last year to Utah. They lost to Tulane in a bowl game. Tulane? Seriously? Okay, same kind of thing this year, I bet. And I also worry about, I don't think there's a backup to Caleb Williams. I hope he doesn't get hurt. Don't get me wrong, but there isn't a backup in that room. Where you take a team like Oregon State, they've got 2 backups. Aiden Childs, a freshman, and Ben Gulbertson, who won 7 out of 8 games last year when he got moved into the starting role. So you got to have a team with backup quarterbacks in this league. And in the Pac-12 is a great quarterback league this year. Michael Penix in Washington, Bo Nix in Oregon, Caleb we talked about. I mean, there's just quarterbacks left and right, except at UCLA. UCLA doesn't have one. Right now they're looking at a freshman from Detroit named Dante Moore. Okay, Dante was penned in to go to Oregon. He saw what was in the quarterback room and he said, I'm out. Reneged on the scholarship opportunity and decided to go to UCLA. UCLA hasn't named him. I'm not even sure he'll be the number 2 quarterback. They're trying to figure it out. And it sounds like they're a long ways from it. But who's going to win the Pac-12? The Docs. Yeah, seeing that one happen is not a debate. Does that mean they'll go to the college football playoff? No, it doesn't. So let's move on to the Big Ten. And I know there's a lot of confusion about how many teams are in the Big Ten. It's a math question for junior high school students. Well, next year there'll be 18, but this year they've got about 14. Okay, and there's a lot of good ones. Penn State, bunch of returning starters. Don't count out Penn State. Ohio State, can I get this one up? There we go. Ohio State, front runner last year. I picked him because I said Harbaugh can't win the big game. He's like 1-5 against Ohio State. Well, now he's beat him twice. Okay, so now he's got that second win. And what does that mean? That means Michigan is going to win the Big Ten. Okay, and I think, ironically, both of those teams could go to the college football playoff. How weird is that, right? Let's move on. Got to go down to the stack. Bama. Like Clemson, top of the mountain, a lot of people knocking on their door. There's a lot of folks that are saying Alabama's not what they've been. They need a quarterback. They've got, again, talk about coaching. And my friend Phil and I were talking about, it seems like every year or two they've got an offensive coordinator who's somewhere coming on the rebound. O'Brien, who's now back in the pros. Sarkisian, who's at Texas. Lane Kiffin, right? So I'm sure they're going to get their coordinators and their staff worked out, but I don't think they're going to do it. And so I usually would, Alabama, again, top of the mountain. No. Who is it? Georgia. Just too good. Now, you got to replace Stetson Bennett, quarterback, but it sounds like they've done that. Sounds like they got a guy. They've got a tight end. I think it's Bowers. Outstanding tight end. They're trying to find a running back. They're working through 2 or 3 running backs right now, but, because of an injury, ironically, or sadly enough. But Georgia, okay? So Georgia not only wins it, they go to the college football playoff. And I think another team from the SEC is going to be in that college football playoff. How weird is that? I think it could be 2 teams from the SEC and 2 teams from the Big Ten, 14, 16, 18, whatever that big conference is. Those are the championship teams. I always try to do this in one take. We succeeded again. Thank you. And remember to come back and look later to see how I did, because I'm pretty sure nailed it. See y'all.